name is Irene Christoforidi, as Antonia presented me. I have a PhD in agricultural sciences, and I'm working as head of plant production in experimental farm of Hellenic Mediterranean University. Today we're going to discuss about marginalized mountains and opportunities in the island of Crete. Actually, Crete is the largest island of Greece, and it is one of the most beautiful islands in Mediterranean region. We have very beautiful palm forests and cities, and of course the beaches with blue seas, and the well-known Cretan diet for nutrition and traditional dances, whatever. In addition, Crete is an island with a strongly mountainous character. Mountains cover almost 52% of the island area. On our mountains, there are many traditional villages. In high altitudes, as you can see here, Psiloridis, for example, is about 2,456 meters. And there are many other mountains on this island, more than 2,000 meters, where you can see snow even in this time of the year, because this photo you can see here, it was about one month ago. So in our mountains, you can see rivers, lakes, but very few forests. What is the problem? The problem because of overgrazing, anthropogenic activities, soil erosion, and biodiversity loss, many of our mountains are marginalized nowadays. According to history, these mountains, the mountains of Crete, were used to be covered with forests. From the forests of Cretan mountains and the wood of these forests were made the fleet of Phoenician, the boats of Phoenician fleets and also Egyptian ships. But now some of the mountains, like Asterousia in southern Crete, is a typical semi-arid mountains area in which land degradation is one of the most important issues in land management, mostly related to overgrazing because of the growing size of the flocks of sheep and goats. As you can see, it's a very marginalized area, which covers about 367 square kilometers, and recently, in 2022, joined the World Network of Biosphere Reserves because, because they're home of a distinct human and natural environment. More than 30 endemic plants species are located there, and about 192 different species of birds. Crete is one of the characterized as biodiversity hotspot, and there are many of endemic plant species and animals. Marginalization of these mountains is because of soil erosion. As you can see, many of Mediterranean countries north of Europe have problem with has problem with soil erosion, especially in Italy, Spain, and Greece. Here you can see the south of the island with many marginalized areas is Asterousia Mountains I have showed before. Why it's like this? Because of the fire. As I told you, Crete was covered with forests, but not anymore. Actually, all the forests were burned more than twice. First, because of the Ottoman Empire on this era, and second one in the Second World War, because rebels were hidden in the forests. And forests of Crete were burnt from one end to the other twice, and they were burning for about 1 month each time. Fortunately, Low severity surface fires are usually frequent, but they passes by very quickly. Burn surface fuels at low intensities, causing low understory vegetation mortality. So most of the Mediterranean vegetation has adaptation of fire regimes because fire incidents happens again and again and again. So they have adaptations for sprouting and regenerating quickly after fire. This could be a good idea if there wasn't overgrazing. In many mountains of Crete, overgrazing has caused major problems of biodiversity loss and soil erosion. Of course, this can change. Restoration actions can happen, and we have many abilities to overcome this problem. But what are the barriers? Mediterranean ecosystems are under constant pressure that inevitable leads to loss of resources and community livelihood. Sustainable land and water management practices and measures against land and water degradation are well known in the scientific community, but they are not applied widely by land users. Why? We have organized many living labs and ecosystem restoration living labs. First of all, to address the barriers and to address the problems in many areas in Crete. We have also organized some fields, some researches about plant species tolerant in climate change, in drought and salt tolerant plant, which um, could regenerate some areas and be more resilient and sustainable through climate change. But the barriers, usually, as we have addressed them, are knowledge gaps, social obstacles, lack of policy tools, and lack of financial incentives. With this cost action, I think there are a lot to do for this to overcome these barriers, and we have many chances and challenges about this. So let's see some opportunities. Social ecological resilience expresses the capacity of social ecological system to adapt the transform. One of the most important was afforestation program, protection against the erosion, floods and fires, preservation of biodiversity, integration of impacts, regulation. In some places, we had very good examples, but not in all of them, especially in prefecture of Heraklion, forested about 260 hectares. From those, about 81% were carob trees. Carob trees, Keratonia siliqua, is a typical Mediterranean tree, which is characterized as superfood, with many uses. In addition, in some projects, we're trying to address more problems and the good infrastructure and supporting forestation actions against soil erosion, and uh, with local and also international researchers. So here are the mountains, because as I told you about, Crete is characterized as a mountainous island with mountains more than 2,000 meters high. The largest one, which is over here, I can you see the mouse pointing? It's about 2,456. And this is the photograph 1 month, almost 20 days to 1 month ago, where you can see the snow still remaining on the mountains. So let's see some of the problems we have almost discussed about, but now it's time to see also the photographs. Here you can see marginalized mountains on Crete, because the most important problem is fire incidents, soil erosion, and fires again and again because of the shepherds. For more than 100 years used to set up fires to have more grass and new grass for the animals. But nowadays, because degradation of soil, we have major problems. This is scary forest I told you about, because most of Mediterranean plant species have the ability of sprouting and regenerating quickly after fire. And here are some typical photographs of marginalized areas, marginalized mountains on the island of Crete. For example, on this picture, you can see only very short grass and some poisonous or thorny plants, nothing else. Of course, there are a lot to do for restoration, and we can shift these catastrophic incidents, but we have to address the barriers, primary producers, usually not very fond of changes and restoration. This is why I told you about the sustainable land and water management, and we're trying to address why is this problem, which are the barriers. And we have organized many living labs and also ecosystem restoration living labs and researches, trying to gather some plant species more resistant to climate change, to draw and to poor soils. But the barriers are still there. Knowledge gaps, social obstacles, lack of policy tools, lack of financial incentives, and also the challenges for this cost action, this MARGISTAR, to overcome these barriers. Let's see now some opportunities for social ecological resilience expresses and transform. One of these actions is afforestation programs, which happen on this island, but only very few succeeded afforested areas. We're going to say more about this. Here you can see prefecture of Heraklion with about 260 hectares of afforested areas, from which about 81% was carob, which has a very high price. It's about it's about 5 to 10 euros per kilo. Because considered as superfoods, and for carob seeds we make also many products. Now you're going, so because we don't have a full screen, you are not going to see these ships moving in the mountains. I'm sorry, it should be a video also, but you cannot see it in this not full screen state. So with some projects we're supporting afforestation actions against soil erosion with many researchers from Greece and abroad in other Mediterranean areas, Holland as well, and other European countries. And here you can see a succeeded afforested action with carob plantation. And you can see marginalized areas around this carob plantation, which is very productive. And some other opportunities, like many of these mountainous areas and marginalized areas are now a part of UNESCO sites in Crete, like Asterousian Mountains. I saw you the photograph before. As part of UNESCO sites, we have also Natura 2000, um, for 2000, many marginalized areas, in order to preserve biodiversity and ecosystem restoration. Many plant species are endemic on this island, and many mountainous areas we have about 200 different plant species endemic on this island. Also, many mountainous areas belong to global geopark of UNESCO network, as Psiloridis, you can see also here. In this network, you can find many traditional sites like the one above. It is a traditional shepherd house where shepherds used to live on the mountains to gather their animals, to gather and protect their animals in the past years. Now we have vehicles; it's not needed. Also, you can see many archaeological sites. You can see the cave where Zeus, the god of ancient Greek gods, was born, and many other places for tourists. And they are important because also they have a VR where you can see the places, hear the voices, or hear the birds or the animals, and many other things that will help you to choose the place that you are going to visit. Also, with some other opportunities are traditional products of these mountainous areas, like pottery and some other artifacts or wood crafts, and also many other traditional feasts that were organized there, or forum for cultural festivals, as you can see. Some other opportunities are energy production or some products, which many of them are traditional Cretan products with protected nominal origin, herbs, honey, cheese, wine, and many other meat products. Also, other opportunities are for traveling because they're organizing a lot of out of ways, top ways to experience white mountains, as you can see here, with jeeps or bicycles or canyoning or parapente. And also alpine skiing race, which is organized on Cretan mountains, official race of the Greek championship, and always awards, even the last finisher, as he is the one who spent the most time on the mountain. Some other meat products, as you can see here, some other animals which are grown, which are on our mountains with silvopasture. These two photographs with pigs and sheep are for Luca and Moshe, according to interviews last weekend, because of another paper that we are preparing. And because lunchtime is near, enough of food, I would like to end my presentation with a real story. This is the village of Ethia. This village is on Asterousia mountain. And here you can see some afforestation program, which is very well established. And I think that this is a lighthouse of afforestation on the island. Because people got this village used to be abandoned. Only few old people used to live there, and all the houses were destroyed. Most of the houses were destroyed. Then people gathered and they used their private areas for afforestation. From the money of afforestation program, they had the chance to drilling and have more water for the village, and also start up the networking for water and drainage for wastewater and Wi-Fi free for everyone. And then young people start to live on this village again. In this village again, they restored the houses, start tourism to come in this village because of the forest, and new Airbnb houses were established there were um, for the tourists, and also young people had the ability to find some new jobs over there because of the forest. And with this lighthouse, I would like to end my presentation. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Thank you so much. That was a really interesting and colorful presentation. So I am happy that we got to see the slides in the end. If anyone has any questions, please feel free to unmute yourselves and ask away.
Hi, Luca and Moncha.
If I can ask one question. I don't know much about the history of Greece during the Second World War, but this ecocide that happened during this burning of wood, could you explain more what really happened over there, just in some...
Okay, the forests of Crete were burned twice. That is why the mountains are very marginalized. After burning, overgrazing was the most important problem because shepherds do not want trees on their properties or bushes, so they start to burn again and again every year to have more grass and get rid of some bushes or thorny bush that cannot be eaten. So now on Cretan mountains, there are only few forests. One on Ruvas forest, which is one of the oldest one of Greece, but it's typical marginalized areas, Mediterranean areas and Mediterranean forests where the trees are not nearby. So especially in Second World War, they started the fire because of the rebels. And according to the history, the whole Crete was burned about 1 month, for 1 month.
What kind of agriculture were people doing before Second World War, and did they use this wood before? And how it happened that lots of shepherds start to burn it after, because they were not burning it before? So what was the process? How did they decide to do so? Did they have any use? Did they use this wood like in selling the trees or something?
Many of the areas were used for cereals. Actually, during the Venetian era, Crete was the most important cultivation area for cereals for Venice and some other places in Italy. But after the Second World War, that stopped. And I think increased the pastoralism because they were more protected on the mountains. So villagers went to live over there, start to to have more ships maybe and goats. It was easier for them at this time of during the war. And afterwards, they started not to culture a lot of cereals on these places because we started to import cereals from northern of Greece and other countries.
Thank you.
Irene,
Okay.
can I ask a question?
Yes, please.
Do you have any water problems, and how do you solve these problems with water in marginalized villages in mountains?
With drilling mostly. And also artificial lakes that were started creating in almost in every mountain village now. Artificial lake ponds for gathering water from snow and raining. But most of the water we have is from drilling. We use. Any other questions? So, Antonia, if you want to upload this presentation, I think it's better to give you the original one.
Don't worry, Irene. You are the first, and this technical problem happen every time. Don't worry about that. I'm so happy that your presentation was very interesting, and hope that Antonia will share on a Fairway platform. Please send me a summarize information to me because I'm going to prepare the report for each of the webinar. At the moment, we are going to having another webinar after 2 weeks. Anit, it's your turn. I hope to join with you, even that my problem is that I'm going to be together with the student excursions, but I'll try to be with you, even that I'm not. Murat is going to moderate the webinar, but I'll try to be, because
Okay.
I'm very focused in your presentation, and I know that you have implemented your project in your regional area. So many thanks all of you that joined together, me and Irene as well, Antonia. Before closing this webinar, that for us is the first steps, and hope to having other webinars in the next months. I would like Anita sent a short abstract, Antonia. What are you explaining in your webinar series to have more information, all the members? So many thanks all of you. Antonia, many thanks as well. Irene, thank you so much.
Thank you, Irene.
So